This is going to be a quick unboxing of the Wen 2-inch 18 gauge brad nailer and just initial impressions, followed up by actually using it on the projects that I originally purchased it for. So online it said this was a kit, so I think it includes some nails and such in it. There's no information on the box specifically that there's anything else included in there. We just had all the floors finished in our house. Now there's still a little bit of trim work to do, like some shoe molding here and there and some baseboards. So that's why I had to get this nailer. You can see how it's packaged in there. It's pretty well packaged. It actually arrived shipped just in this box. It didn't arrive shipped in any extra boxes. So it needs to be well packaged considering it's just going to be inside of a single box. We have the nailer itself. Everything looks good. I can see from the packaging that it didn't come out of this end. It was protected enough in here. But this is definitely a point which I always think needs to be addressed is packaging for like sharp corners like that. So it looks like it's protected well enough there. And I already have an ultra quiet California Air Tools compressor that I'm going to be able to use for this. So that's why I didn't pick up a cordless version of it. If I did not have a compressor already, I would have probably picked up like one of the cordless ones, like the Ryobi cordless Airstrike nailer, just because it's so convenient and I have lots of those batteries. But this was significantly cheaper. I think the Ryobi was like $130 or so, and this was like $35 in comparison. So if you already have a compressor, or in fact you can almost buy a compressor combination nailer for about $180 or something like that, or close to $200 for a decent compressor like that ultra quiet compressor. And then you'll have a compressor for other things in the future too. So consider that. Looks like a pretty decently made lightweight tool. The rubber grip is just stretched over on there. It's not over molded. As with most nailers, you can redirect the air direction, the exhaust port. You can redirect that whichever way you want it. Cartridge looks good. Don't see any issues there. Looks decently well made. Overall, looks pretty well made. It just doesn't look like anything that's cheap. Comes with the air hose connector, which is nice. Already there. Looks like a standard size, standard connectors. There's all kinds of different fittings of these air fittings, but that one looks like a standard one. Should be able to undo this to fix any jams. So if any nail gets jammed in there, you just take that off and unjam it. It has an instruction manual with it. And this would be the kit aspect, is that it came with a whole series of different size nails and some oil for lubricating it and some hex wrenches for adjusting it. Here are the different nails it came with. So it includes 500 pieces of 2-inch and 500 pieces of 1-inch, 500 pieces of 3/4, and 500 pieces of 3/8. So you get a pretty good selection of brads in here. The first ones I'm going to use are these 2-inch ones. Looks like a perfect fit. And there's a little window there, so you can see how many are remaining. So I think that clip is 100, but the window only shows 50. If you look at the specs here, you'll see that the air pressure rating is from 60 psi minimum to 115 psi max. Nail size is 18 gauge. Nail length is 3/8 to 2-inch. The nail capacity is 106, so I think most of those nails come in a 100 pack. Nail size is 1/4 inch NPT, so that's this thread right here. And the weight is 2.8 pounds. air consumption is 0.028 feet cubed at 88 psi. So that's for every shot, it takes that much air. You can see here that even though this is an inexpensive tool, they have listed every single part in here. So you could potentially get replacement parts for it. So you can probably order those parts from Wen itself. Considering this tool only costs $35, it's impressive to see that they provide this parts list. If, something small like an O-ring or seals or gaskets or things that are most likely gonna fail and need to be replaced, you might be able to buy very inexpensively to fix it if necessary. This is the setup that I use with the nailer attached to a coiled hose going to the California Air Tools Ultra Quiet Air Compressor. And it's not a problem to have this compressor nearby because it sounds no louder than like a sewing machine. The output of the compressor going to the nailer is set to about 85 psi. I'm going to repair this broken part here in the corner with a little bit of glue. Ideally usually I'd use like wood glue, but we'll use this polyurethane glue, Gorilla Glue. So to be careful because it will foam and expand. Doesn't need a whole lot. And then I'm going to use the Wen nailer to nail it in. So here, I'll wiggle it in place. And then go. Just need to fill that in a little bit, it'd be good. This is at max depth. You can see that the nailer makes some kind of triangular indentations in the wood. That's usually patched up with caulk. So in conclusion, I've been really impressed by the quality and capability of this 18 gauge brad nailer, especially considering the price. It costs about half of what I could find the least expensive one to be at Home Depot. And I'm not in search of the cheapest tool. I want the best quality at the lowest price is what I'm looking for. So I don't mess around with cheap tools that aren't good quality. I look for something that's inexpensive and is good quality, it's going to work well. So I usually always spend a lot of time taking a look at reviews, and I don't necessarily always buy the cheapest thing. Just in this case, this is one of the least expensive nailers and ended up actually working out really well. Now I can't speak to its long-term durability, but I can say that this is an excellent tool for someone who's going to be using an 18 gauge brad nailer on occasion and is not necessarily using it for professional use. Now it may very well be capable of professional use and being used a lot, but I'm not going to be able to test it to that extent. I hope that this video was helpful for making an educated decision about the Wen brad nailer. I spent a lot of time researching products before I purchased them. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and please consider subscribing for my future video reviews where I'll go in depth about other products. and also DIY and other interesting things that I make.